Ladies and gentlemen, we have seen the rather surprising election results in the United Kingdom. Mrs. May has called a snap election in April 2017, and the results have been quite sobering in the sense that she is now in a minority government and she will need the support of the Democratic Unionist Party from Northern Ireland. So the DUP from Northern Ireland certainly has an interest to make sure that there's not the introduction of a hard border regime between Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland. That would be indeed the consequence if there would be a hard Brexit. A hard Brexit has been the hallmark of the rhetoric of May's government, and I think the hard Brexit is dead for now. So there is a big question whether the May government or any Conservative government will be able to deliver consistent policy in the next 2 years or so. And the main question, it seems, is whether or not in 2019, say January or February, when we have the result of the negotiations between the European Union and the United Kingdom, will there be a majority in the Parliament? And that's rather doubtful, whatever the outcome of the negotiation is, because the hard Brexiteers and the Conservative Party, they will probably argue the result is much too soft, and those who would have liked to remain in the European Union will find probably many elements of the treaty being too hard. So there is a big uncertainty now in British politics. This will contribute to further devaluation of the British pound. A massive devaluation of the British pound will again have then important effects on the economy. There will be an increase of the inflation rate. That means a lower growth of real income for the majority of the population. It also will mean that foreign investors can more easily buy British firms, and as the share of foreign owners in the British capital stock will then increase, well then a greater share of British profits will be transferred abroad. That means in turn that the growth rate of real national income will be more modest in the future, and that means also that the cost of Brexit will become visible for everybody much more in the coming years than many have thought so far. It's clear that in 2016 there was the economic upswing in the EU 27 countries, and there was the stock market rally in the US that helped to stabilize the British economy. But in 2017, 18, 19, I think the economic development will be much more difficult for the United Kingdom. And this is a self-imposed problem in the sense that the EU referendum of 2016, as I see it, was not part of an orderly referendum process. It is easy to show that under normal information policy of the Cameron government, the result would have been 52.1% in favor of Remain. The main reason is that the Cameron government did not include in the 16 pages info leaflet for households the information contained in the Treasury study on the long-term benefits of EU membership. Namely, in a Brexit perspective, to put it like this, there will be a decline of income by 10%, so you will lose the equivalent of a December income. If that had been known to the population, and I think it should have been known to everybody, the result would have been just the opposite of what we have seen. We have had a 51.9% majority for Brexit. The correct result would have been something like 52% for Remain. So that's a very strange situation, and Mrs. May basically is following up with her policy on a strange and actually disorderly referendum of 2016, and I think the result will be full of contradictions, will be political and economic instability in the UK, That's not good for the United Kingdom, and that's also not good for Europe. It also shows for the United States that inconsistent economic policies very quickly can generate serious problems, and I think it's a very difficult situation for the West, because if both the United Kingdom and the US suffer from self-imposed instability, then the West cannot show the type of leadership which the world economy needs to a large extent. Finally, the global Britain approach of Mrs. May is not going to work. She might easily get a free trade agreement with the United States and possibly with Japan, but with China that's almost impossible, because no British government can want that the steel mills in the country will be bankrupt tomorrow, and a free trade agreement with China would basically amount to something like this. And also think about a free trade agreement with India. Any Indian government will ask the question, how about easier access to the British labour market and easier visa policy? This is not what Mrs. May wants to deliver, and therefore the idea to get higher growth from a series of free trade agreements is illusionary. So we'll see how the British political system will find a way out of all these problems. For the EU 27 countries, there's still the message, we need a lot of reforms. We can hope that France will make some progress here, but every country in the Eurozone and in the EU should consider reforms that are necessary in the national and European interest.